Yo, welcome back to Juicy Tech Podcast and YouTube channel. My name is Ariel Juice, aka Juice. Welcome back to another one. So basically, the podcast is available right now. It's on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Google Podcasts. I'll leave the link to the podcast in the box below. But let's start this topic, which is going to be about, of course, coding boot camps. And this is really about people who are looking to join a coding boot camp in the year 2023. So if that's who you are, if you're looking for that kind of information from a former full-time student that went to a coding boot camp, it was an in-person cohort. I have no regrets going to this school. I very much love who I met in terms of the classmates that I've met. I've made some new friends, basically. I just met a lot of people from even outside the boot camp, me going to tech events. I met a lot of cool people, and we even still keep in touch via LinkedIn, Instagram, and it's cool that I have these people as a reference or just networking. You just never know what might come up by just knowing people, meeting them in person in the same space. Basically, they're your peers, right? That's who I'm around. That's who I was around, my peers, and it was just awesome. So we're gonna talk about that, coding boot camps, and if you're that person that's looking to join a boot camp in the year 2023, this video is for you. So, but I can tell you right now, again, coming from a former full-time student that went to coding boot camp, I will tell anyone before you spend your money. Let me just say in better terms or words. I would not spend a single dime at any coding boot camps or just college without doing your own, teaching of coding, if that makes any sense. I will sit down and teach myself coding first and learn all the basics that's possible about coding. And that goes from learning HTML5, CSS, JavaScript, of course, algorithms, DS, of course, what's an API, what's MongoDB or Firebase, what's a database, what's loops, arrays, variables, strings. All these to me personally are not coding bootcamp, but coding fundamentals. Those are things you're going to encounter all the time depending on what you're doing. So for example, I went to coding bootcamp to learn how to be a full stack web developer. And what is that exactly? Well, that's what it is. It's self-explanatory. You are building websites and you're building the entire thing from the front end to the back end. I'll explain what those two things are, but this is what I mean about learning the basics of coding. Some people want to become software engineers and don't realize that software engineer is like this broad, term. It means a lot of different things. So again, me going to school or coding bootcamp to learn how to be a full stack dev, that's a category within software engineering. If that makes any sense, all this shapes and stuff, but that's what that is. Some people want to become a cybersecurity person. That's another category, or a front end or a back end developer. Those are two categories as well in in software engineering. So I very much, again, think you need to sit down and figure out what exactly are you trying to do? What is it that you're trying to join? Meaning, what job title you're really interested in. Maybe you want to be focusing on designing websites, and that's UX UI or just CSS. So for someone that wants to learn how to learn how to design websites, so coloring and fonts and all that stuff, you want to focus on CSS. You don't want to focus on things like Java or Python, right? That has nothing to do with CSS. Maybe, but not really. But Java has nothing to do with, designing. It's all back-end type technology or language, right? So this is what I mean by sitting down and figure out what do you want to do before spending any money on coding bootcamp, because this is stuff that I didn't know back then. I thought software engineering was just that, and it's just this. It's more than just being a software engineer. It's like, what exactly are you trying to get into? What interests you the most? Some people love working as a front-end developer, meaning someone that focusing on the website itself or the application. And that means, like you using HTML5, CSS, and JavaScript, that focus mainly on the front end. That really means what the consumer or what the user is seeing. The actual website, and that's what you are building, or that's what you're focusing on the most. Some people enjoy working on the back end as a back end dev, and people who focus on that are mainly using stuff like MongoDB, which is the database, Python, Java. Those really are what the back-end devs focus on the most, and it's best to focus and learn those skills than to focus like on CSS. That has nothing to do with back-end, right? Or UX UI. That has nothing to do with back-end, but designing or just the front end. So this is what I mean by figure out what it is that you want to do. So in 2023, before you spend any money on coding boot camps or college or school, degrees, certificates, sit down and figure out what type of job title you're looking into. What interests you the most? Are you into front end? Are you into the back end? Are you into designing? Are you into cybersecurity? Are you into building games or applications like Kotlin? Like, these are things that you have to figure out exactly what you want to do before going to any of these institutions and just give your money away and not know what the hell you're doing. So again, sit down and figure out what it is that you want to do. Another thing that I would tell anyone that's looking into joining a coding bootcamp in 2023, the best thing to me, and this is just maybe it's the cohort that I was in or the school that I went to, networking. I would learn the art of networking. I would very much learn how to conquer this. I'm still learning myself, but I think people should focus on networking before even trying to get a job. That's something I've been trying to do for the longest, and I'm still doing that. Because it's not only is it, to me, a smart thing to do, but it's also fun. And realistically, nobody knows you yet. And by saying that, that's going to be a problem for you to get a job because nobody knows you. They don't know who you are. You can be the best coder on earth, but it's like if they don't know who you are as a person, if there's no type of reference that you can give of people who may know you and they're professionals in the field or even outside the field, it's going to be hard to find a job. Every job I've ever had in my life, not in tech, but every job in general that I've had, I'll say a good 99% of it came from someone knowing me and they gave me a job because someone knew me, and that just makes things easier. So by people knowing you and they can give that employer a good word about you, like this guy's reliable, he's trustworthy, he's hardworking, he's a fast learner, he's always practicing, like, that's going to help you get a job so much quicker than, but like, believe it or not, your work experience. By people knowing you can be a big deal. Like, I'm serious. Every job I've ever had, it really came from references, from people knowing me or just networking. That's what I do best. I don't shy away from speaking to people. Like, I love doing that. Like, I enjoy hearing people's stories and advice and tips about not just tech, but just in life in general. Like, I love to meet people. It's not even just about work. It could be about life. Like, maybe you're married, you have children, and you like to travel, and maybe you're starting a business, or maybe you played a new video game that you have so much passion for playing, and you're talking about that, or we're having a conversation about that alone. Like, that's just who I am. I love to not just talk, but just meet people and learn from their experiences or skills or knowledge. And I said skills, just their experiences. Like, it's just my thing. So my cohort very much focus on those things a lot, networking, and they help a lot of the students kind of like get out of their shell and work with other people, is like work in groups to solve a problem or fix something or to create something. And that really helps you a lot to kind of like, not be so awkward around people when you're conversing, but you are the opposite. You can just strike up a conversation and people enjoy your presence. They enjoy speaking with you, and they you make them not feel safe, but you make them feel comfortable, right? That's the term. They're not so like the opposite with you when you're around them. They don't feel like, get this person away from me because of whatever. Maybe they're just socially awkward. And that all comes from lack of having a lack of social skills. Like, people have, this is a common thing. You'll be surprised. A lot of people I've met in my cohort, a lot of them had some problems with those skills, social skills. Not that not here trying to shame them, excuse me, but it is what it is. Like, I witnessed this. I don't have those problems because I've always had a job where I was around people, whether it was an office space or just I was always around people. So those skills just it's natural to me, not just to kind of like blend in with people and just, you know, enjoy our, you know, work day with each other to solve a problem or get things done. Like it's easy for me to do this, and I very much believe my next job or my first job as a junior dev is going to be from networking. It's going to be from some people may like who I am. I'm not trying to toot my own horn, but maybe that is going to help them realize or just feel like this guy seems like he's cool and he wants to learn. He may not have the work experience yet, but he's willing to learn. And watching his videos and maybe his GitHubs and all these things, like, you are showing that you're trying to make this work and you want this so bad and you want to learn. And some people may just be so like into that where they may just give you a job from that alone. Like, you seem like you're someone who I can really enjoy, you know, my 40 hours a week with. And that's a big deal. That's really important. So networking is a big deal. So again, this is for someone that's looking to join the bootcamp in 2023. I can tell you right now, before joining, again, learn the skills of network. Now, not just networking, excuse me, but coding. Learn the 101s of coding, right? That means learn all the basics you need to learn before going to any boot camp. It's going to save you a lot of stress because you're not so lost in class. You have an idea of what's going on, what they're talking about. You know what's an href. You know what's an anchor tag. You know what's what else? Like, you just know how everything connects with each other as a full stack application. You know how the app connects with the API, and the API goes and gather information from the database and bring it to the user or the person requesting information. This all is what I learned. I learned all this in coding bootcamp. And outside of bootcamp, I'm still learning. I'm still learning HTML5. I'm still sharpening my skills. I need to build more projects. I'm not gonna lie to you. I need to focus on building more and more projects, which it will get done in due time, but I do have a busy life. I'm a married man. My wife runs a business. I'm helping her with the business. I have a full-time job. So I'm, you know, I have a busy schedule, but I'm still into coding. I'm still into learning as much as I can, and, you know, one day have a job as a junior developer for the first time, and it's going to be awesome. And yeah, I'm just practicing and coding and practicing and coding. I'm looking to do hackathons in the future. Not right now, but this is all part of my plan, but one step at a time. So I like to keep putting out these type of videos because I think they're important. I am someone that can speak on coding boot camps because I actually went to one for about 3 months straight, and it's just my experience, and I will continue to keep doing this information or just keep putting this stuff out. I will continue to keep putting out content on the podcast about coding boot camps or the tech field. Again, if you're looking to join a coding boot camp, I'm not saying not to do it, but I'm not looking to even discourage people of enrolling in one. But I'm telling you, you want to make sure before you spend any money, you know what's going on. You know how this stuff works. Technology is always changing. Learn as much as you can. If anything, very much learn the basics of coding. Learn a language if that's possible, like JavaScript or Python. Learn on your own as much as you can. I'm telling you, it'll save you so much time and grief, and you will thank yourself in the future of doing that. Do not spend any money on any one of these schools. Not that they're bad, but to save yourself a lot of money and stress. And I'm telling you, time, teach yourself coding at home. Every chance you get, learn this stuff on your own. I'm telling you, it's going to help you so much. That's something I wish I had done more, is, like, I guess, put more time into that before I went to coding boot camp. I don't regret it, but that's something I wish I had done more. But now you're hearing from someone that went to coding boot camp that's telling you this is what I would have done if I can turn back hands of time. If I can turn time, if I go back into time, I would do that more. Spend more time coding and practicing and learning all the basics of coding before doing anything else. And it's all free online, YouTube. Hit me up, contact me via LinkedIn, YouTube, or my email. I know some pretty cool I guess, websites to kind of learn the basics of coding. And it's going to be so freaking awesome. And you can just thank yourself. I'm telling you, you will do that very much. So hope this video helps. Much love to you. Let me stop rambling. And 2023 is among us. Happy New Year, of course. And I hope this video brings you value and it benefits you in some way, shape, or form, especially if you're looking to join a coding bootcamp. I hope this video, you find it and you just consume the information and adopt what I'm saying and just, you know, do what you got to do. So peace out. Much love to you. Catch you on the next video. Thanks for watching. I'm out of here. Happy 2023.